honey buns, and what is up? As you can see here, I got me a nice checker blanket in my hand, and I could have taken this blanket and made a large pillow or just simply used it to snuggle up. But I wanted to make a cute little two-piece outfit. So if you want to turn this into this, saddle up and get ready to make some honey. See you soon.
HoneyBunTv. You making me wanna spend this money, gorgeous, all on you, girl.
Hey honey buns, so here's what you'll need. You'll need a blanket, of course, and or fabric. You'll need some scissors and a measuring tape. The best tip of advice that I can give is to literally use a blanket that is stretchy and has some stretch to it. That way you won't have to worry about adding any seam allowance or extra inches to anything. It will stretch and fit you just as fine as perfect. Now, if you know what I'm about to say. Make your fabric stretch and make your fabric work. So we are going to start off with our standard style of folding your fabric hot dog style and cutting it down the middle so you can have two pieces of fabric to work with and make it stretch. And then on top of that, you'll have more fabric for another project, X, Y, and Z, Z, Y, and X. So now here I am just opening it up and getting ready to work with the first portion of the project, which is making the skirt. So I'm folding it over. Now if you choose to, you can fold it this way that I'm about to show you. That way you can get it over with cutting two pieces at one time, but I don't want to do that because my scissors are not as sharp as they usually are today. So we're just going to start off with cutting one piece at a time, which is going to be the skirt. So here's the first half. I already went ahead and cut it. Now we're just literally going to put it on top of the fabric, fold some more over, and cut a second piece so we can have two pieces for our skirt. Hey honey buns, now you should have two pieces for the skirt, which we are just going to place to the side. This portion at the bottom, we're going to cut it off and use this for an extra piece, which can be for our collar, our hat, and or pockets that we will place on later. But this is going to be for our pocket, which I will cut later on in the video. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut the top part, which is going to be like the little jacket. I did add extra inches on, about 2 inches, because I like my jackets kind of a little bit big. And this is a full bodice, but I'm only cutting it to the waist area. So what I just did was cut the back, and how I know this is the back, because it is not cut in half and does not have one piece. It is a full piece. So this will be your back piece. Now to get the front piece, all you're gonna do is place this on fold on top of the fabric again and cut down, as you see me doing right here. Cut down that line, and that will give you two panels for your right and your left shoulder. So you will see me demonstrate what I mean in a second here. So cutting that middle piece, you should have one piece that's closed, and you should have two pieces that are open, that are literally the same as that pattern. So here you can see this is the back piece, this is for our back, okay, and this is for our front. You see how that goes together? Real cute, real nice. Yes. Okay honey buns, so this scrap piece of fabric, remember I said don't throw them scraps away, cut them and keep them. So we're just going to take one portion, and now we are going to get ready to make our pockets. If you don't want pockets on your jacket, you can skip over this part. But if you want pockets on your jacket, the measurement is 3 by 3. And the measurements will also be in the description box, so you can look back there and see what I meant. But there are going to be 3 inches by 3 inches, 3 inches in length, 3 inches by width. So as you can see, we're just cutting it. It's going to make a mini square. Now I want a covering over, like a lap over my pocket. So all I'm gonna do is basically stuff that square back in, okay, and cut. I'm gonna cut about approximately 1 to 2 inches up to make that fold, which once I fold it back over, you'll see I'm going to cut it, and then it's gonna give me 2 pieces. So as you can see here, I'm just lining it up to make sure and double correct myself that everything aligns. I'm gonna fold over that flat piece, and I'm gonna cut it in half. Yes, I'm going to cut it in half to make 2 pieces, and I'm just gonna cut off that excess. So once I cut that in half, you'll see this little pocket kind of coming together as I'm showing you here. This is exactly what I mean. So go ahead, take your time and give yourself grace. Okay, cut and put that pocket baby on that pocket. Now that we did that, we are going to put that to the side. Make sure you are super organized. As you can see, this blanket was a little bit messy. So I gotta shake the devil off. Shake all that little excess off of the blanket. Now we are going to use another piece that we cut out for scrap. This is to make the bands for the hat. If you do not want a hat, you can go ahead and skip this portion. I measured the circumference of my head, which was about 20 inches. And that's why I cut 20 inches. Whatever the circumference of your head is, you can cut to that. But you can see this is also stretchy fabric. And I just put it to the side. Now for the hat portion, how to make the top half. I did make a mistake and cut a little bit off too soon, but here's what I'm gonna tell you, because I did go back and correct myself. This is 13 by 8 for this circle. So I'm gonna measure 13 down, and I'm gonna teach you a little trick. Instead of having to cut the whole circle, you're only gonna cut to half point. So as you can see here, half point. You're going to take that portion, flip it over the top portion of that circle. As you can see me about to do. Flip it, okay, like a pancake. And then literally take your scissors and cut down and around as you see me here doing here. And you should have a good old circle. So this circle measurement was 13 by 8. Now we're going to get ready to sew. If you know, like I know, as always, good sides are together. And if you don't know what good sides are together, it's basically the front pieces facing each other. So the seams should literally be facing outward, and the seams are where the thread is, where that seam is created to connect your clothing. We are going to sew literally on the sides, because with the skirt we have a top and a bottom open. So you're just only going to want to sew the sides. So go ahead and sew the sides and take your time and give yourself grace. This is how our skirt came out. So the bottom is kind of raw, and when I say raw, it just doesn't have a hem to it. And you don't always need to have a hem, especially if you cut straight, but I want to make a hem at the bottom of this skirt. So a hem is at the bottom. We're literally just going to fold around, and this is about ½ an inch. So as you see me here doing the bottom, and we're literally going to fold that in about an inch. And this is after we basically made the skirt right sides out. So go ahead, as you see me here doing, just holding it down and sewing the hem around. This will form your hem, and take your time because fabric does slide. And this is what it should look like when you are finished. So moving on, we are literally going to do the same with our little jacket, our top. The only difference is clearly it's 2 panels that have to attach onto one. So because of that, we are going to place 1 panel at a time and make sure each sides match up, right sides facing each other. And we are going to sew at the top and on the side, leaving our armhole open. And we are also going to hem the bottom just like we did for our skirt. Because we are going to hem the bottom of this just like we did our skirt, we are going to fold it, since we folded it inside out, right sides in, and we're going to make the hem about ½ an inch to an inch, but you can do how many inches however you like. That's just how I did it to start off. Take your time, sew it down, and you should get a nice neat hem like this. Now following suit, if you don't want or did not want pockets and you wanted the hat, you can move on a little bit to a minute. because we are going to get ready to do the pocket now. So for the pocket, as I said, you're going to have the pocket where you put something in, right? And then you're going to have the top lap to cover that. Now, for the top lap, you are going to sew under here first. So you're going to sew it like that first, and then you're going to sew on top. But for the pocket, to get it on there, you are going to sew parallel, vertical, parallel. So straight line. Oh gosh. You're going to go straight line, vertical, straight line, horizontal, straight line, parallel, horizontal, parallel. I know I'm saying it right. I know y'all see me doing it here, but ooh, that just got me a little bit of twisted tongue tied right there. Anyways, y'all see what I'm doing. If you did not see what I did, I'm literally going to show you one more time, and then I'm going to show you the lap on there. So sorry, honey buns. Okay, after you take it off, this is how it should look. This is how the pocket should look. Put something inside real cute, huh? Put a little bit of lip gloss or sunflower seeds up in there. Now we are going to put the lap on. In the same way that we got it on a sewing machine is the same way that it's going to go back on, because the lap is coming from the other side. So don't forget to sew this way first underneath and then sew on top. If you don't want to do that, you can watch me sew on top as you see me placing it here after we sew on the bottom. And sew right on top. You see how good that looks? That look real cute. So now it's looking kind of, you know, empty at top. But what are we going to use to make a collar? That scrap fabric I told you to keep. I hope you did not throw it away. So now we're going to get the collar. And literally how you measure the collar, if you want to do it this way, you could do it this way. If not, you can measure it with a measuring tape. We're just going to cut the fabric and make sure it lines up even with that circular motion in the middle where your neck area usually is. And we're going to make sure everything lines up. So now to make the collar, we are going to sew down these two sides that we have here. And then we are going to fold it over to the good side and sew it down. And now that we did that, we are literally going to place it, match those seams up, match those lines up, match those points up. And we are going to sew it right down on the collar like we were just matching it up. And that is going to be our collar. Now, if you did not want to make a hat, the video is over, boo-boo. But if you want to make the hat, stick around. The same thing goes for the hat with our 20-inch piece as you see me holding here. You are going to, like I did before, sew each side down. And if I have not said already, when you sew, you are folding things inside out and then folding them right side in to hide that seam. So now that we did that, we just connected the two sides. Just like for the collar we didn't connect the ends, but for this we'll connect the ends just like you can see. So as you can see, it's connected and it is essentially like a circle. So that seam part, we are just going to leave that basically sticking out. You see that line sticking out right there? That's kind of bulky where the open circle is, the band is. Yeah, that should be facing outward, not inward. So I'm just pinning the hats around and making pleats. And that's literally me just taking the fabric and kind of gathering it around the hat and pinning it. So I'm just showing you what that looks like from a more close-up point of view. And I'm going to keep on pleating around until I get to the last portion of the hat. And it should look like this. Almost kind of like a Domino's pasta chicken Alfredo bowl. And then you are just going to sew around. Make sure you take your pins out as you're sewing around to keep those pleats in. And take your time because this can be a little bit tedious. You see me dipping my head down all up in there. I had to get all up in there when I was sewing this thing. So after we're done, we are going to fold it right sides out. That's it. You did it, honey bun. I hope to see you next week tuned in with HoneyBunTv. Mwah.